Well, hello, hello, hello. Good morning or good afternoon, whichever. Just wanted to come on and do another video for you guys. Trying to do them as much as I can, but I'm busy, you know. I took some notes and I'm going to talk about my upbringing in Mexico. So this will be um, chapter 1, episode 1. Okay, so officially we're in the episodes. Okay, so we are going to talk about my earliest memory in Mexico. Okay. So my earliest memory in Mexico is living with my mom, being able to go around my grandpa, my family, everybody down there. My dad was in and out. Um, Let me start by saying that my mom was my dad's mistress. So that was a very hard situation. So my dad, he was a very big attorney in Mexico, and my mom was his secretary. And my dad had been married. My dad has a son that I've only met once, and he doesn't want a relationship with me. But so my mom and my dad, they were doing their thing. My mom was not supposed to be able to have kids. Neither was my dad. Supposedly my dad was fixed, and my mom, the doctor told her that she could never have kids. So they were doing their thing. My dad had got my mom a house and everything. You know, he was like living a double life. Well, then here I come about, and my dad was not very welcoming from what my mom said because he had his own family. So he was trying to figure out how he was gonna tell his wife and his family that I came along, right? So he wasn't around for a little bit of my mom's pregnancy. My mom got very stressed out, and I have an aunt that lives in the States, and my mom, she was like, well, you know what? I'll just go up there with you, visit you just to get away from my dad or whatever. But my mom was almost to her term, so she ended up going to California where my aunt was living, and shortly after she ended up going into labor, and she had me. So then I was born in California. I was born in Anaheim. Uh, and then we stayed with my aunt for a little while until I was able to be back on a plane, which my dad wasn't there or anything. My mom said she did call my dad and tell him like, hey, I had her, and my dad was like, please bring her down here, I want to meet her. So my mom ended up bringing me back to Mexico, right? My dad seen me, he was around. um he was in and out of his family and my family, like our family or whatever, because he had his own life. Nobody knew about me and his from his family. um so up until the day I remember, I think I was maybe about 4 or 5 years old. I remember spending time with my dad. We used to drive around, and my dad played soccer too. He had his own soccer league, and I remember going to the stadium and watching him play soccer. I remember going out to eat. A few, just a few little vague memories or whatever that I remember. Fast forward to whenever I was 6. My mom, she became a news anchor in Mexico. So then my mom and dad both got me into doing commercials. So I started doing like candy commercials. Um, and then I was spending time with my dad. And then I don't know where it came about where he ended up telling his mistress, I mean his wife, and then also his family. I was able to meet some of his family. And then his mistress was making threats to my mom, that I cannot be allowed in their home, a lot of things like that, right? So my dad was paying for my tuition. I was going to a Catholic school, a Catholic elementary school, private school. Well, he stopped paying for that. Well, if anybody knows in Mexico, like, uh, if you have a career and everything, you're well off, but if not, So my mom was the news anchor, right? But she was only making enough to support us, not to give me the luxury of going to a private school. So my mom called my aunt that was in the States, and she was like, hey, she has her citizenship. Just take her up there. I'll sell everything down here. And then you can, she can live in the States and get her good education and, live life in America. So as we were waiting for that, I was spending time with my aunts, my grandpa, my grandma, um, just, enjoying life down there. I didn't even know I was coming to the States. Oh, crazy part, nobody ever told me until one day my cousin showed up. She was like, "Hey, you're coming to the States with me." It was crazy, but I remember my life in Mexico was great. From what I remember, I always remembered being happy. I was always with my grandma. Um, my grandma was my everything whenever I was younger. My grandpa, I was very spoiled, beyond spoiled. I was the only grandbaby at that time that lived in Mexico. So I was just very spoiled. And I remember very clearly the day that I was leaving. They took me to my grandpa, my grandma's, my aunts, and just told me to say goodbye, and I didn't know what was going on. I was freaking out, and I didn't know when I was going to be able to see them again. So then, fast forward, I get on the plane and I leave my mom. My mom told me, I'll see you soon. Um, you're going to be living with your cousin for a little bit and your aunt, and I'm going to stay behind and sell everything and then meet you in the States. Well, what I didn't know is that my mom did not have her citizenship, not her citizenship, her green card anymore. In the midst of everything that was going on, I'm not really sure. She lost it somehow. She did have a traveling visa, but she ended up losing it. And I'm not really sure how or why. She never really told me. Um, so what I didn't know is that my aunt was trying to get her to the States illegally so she could be with me and, we can have a life here in the States. So I was here in the States with my aunt and my cousin for, I don't know, maybe about 8 months to a year without my mom until she was able to get her crossed over. Um, and then I remember like it was yesterday, the day that I seen my mom. Like I seen my mom walking through the doors. Like nobody told me she was coming. And I just remember like just this relief because every time I asked, everybody was like, "Well, we don't know. She'll be here. She'll be here." When I talked to her on the phone, there was never a date she would be here. So when I seen her, it was just the best feeling in the world ever. Um, so that's the little story on me being born in the States, me going to Mexico, living in Mexico for a little while, and then me coming back to the States and starting to live here. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and then I'll try to do another video tomorrow or sometime this week. But the story just gets more interesting. That's for sure. So I appreciate you guys listening to me. I appreciate you guys supporting me. This is not easy for me to do. I'm beyond nervous. I've never just told my story or shared my life, anything like that. Um, so thank you for the support. And if you guys have any advice or anything like that, please leave me, a comment, send me a message, anything like that. I'll take any advice given. Um, but until next time, thank you.